Hello, hello, everyone. It's good to see everyone. Janet and Johnny, Bill Woods, Jeffrey, Ron. I think that's all. Kevin. Everyone, I hope you've had a good week so far. My week has been so. Won't say it's been good, won't say it's been bad, but I was chatting through email today with Linda and chatting with her, Linda Scullin, and chatting with her, we was discussing it's time this goes. It's time we get this done. And I think everybody's going to agree with that. Why isn't it get done? I don't know. Every time I turn around, someone's taking a shot at my president. Every time I turn around, everybody's going down. And I got some things to discuss. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was listening to Wolverine earlier today, and he says it best. Guys, there's just not stuff out there. They're just not telling us. But Papa G and Bill and Kevin and Janet and everyone, they are telling us enough that we can at least move forward and stay positive. So I'm going to say the pledge, and I'm going to play the music, and I'm going to come back and talk to the kids, and we're going to see what kind of show we can put together. I'm always good at ad-libbing, so we'll see what we can do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, and where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt of that's the God bless the USA.
And they don't think we're out of come up because the women come out and say she doesn't have no kids in it. Because it's so small. It's
From the lakes of Minnesota
to the hills
of Tennessee,
it's coming up in the goals. I don't think Will and Mary are. None of Will and Mary's kids.
From sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, with there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd rather stand up next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt of
I just gotta remember
this.
Because look, asking about it, they went on a history of it. But it wasn't as much today all the way in the other line. I thought it was good.
Next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Okay, I'm back. I had to get the cat off the chair. Whenever I go and take a little break, the cat decides he needs to sit down there.
And these are 3 things I wish I knew in my 20s. Number 1.
What's that?
Use Patriot. It's by far the best platform. Did you know the longest home run?
So I haven't heard from Jimmy's dad lately. I haven't seen Jimmy posting anything lately. It's a family that's going through a lot, and I hope everybody continues to say a prayer for them. They're going through an awful lot. I thought I would hear from Jim today because Sarah was supposed to go find out the sex of the baby. Boy or girl, I never cared to know until the day was there. But today we live in a different world and everybody wants to know. You know, I guess we were different growing up. Ron and Papa G and Bill. I guess we were different because, see, the sex of the baby, so they can go out and buy the clothes. They can go out and fix up the room. They can do what they need to do. I guess we didn't need to buy our babies clothes. We didn't need to fix up a room, and we didn't need to get them a bed. Cindy, what do you think about that? Do you think it's just a bunch of crap? I do. What about you, Janet? And I'm not cutting Sarah down for wanting to know the sex, and I'm praying it's a boy. I'm praying it's a boy. But it doesn't matter if it's a girl, she'll love her just as much. But it would also help the family carry on the family name. So, Jimmy, we're wondering if you're okay. I'm sure your dad will send me a message today. Of course, I really haven't been in Telegram much today, so I can't really say what's going on. There just isn't information out there, kids. But there will be. And I got a story about something like that in a few minutes. Patriot 11. All of my grandkids got out of school today. They're all done. No more. And I'm going to talk about that too. Patriot Karate Kid and Patriot Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and strong. Are you taking care of him, Wyatt? Are you taking care of the big brother? I think you're the smaller one, right? I don't really know. Patriot Princess, our queen, and Patriot Hunter. You know, I was online today on Facebook, and I seen Jana Taylor on there, Jana on there. And I thought, I'm going to say something to her. And I started to write her a message. Not really. I started to write her a message. I don't do. I started to write her a message, and all of a sudden, poof, it was like the magic dragon. She was gone. She hasn't given me any indication of yours playing ball, our princess. She hasn't told me anything about you, Hunter, in a long time. Sometimes grandmas can get busy, and they forget to tell the people who really care about what's going on with the kids. Yes, I expect now that I'll get a message from Jana. I shamed her into it.
We know she gets the replay.
Yeah, Ron says we know she gets the replays because he sends them. Then there's Patriot Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. Hi, Karen. Four great kids. Grandpa John. I think he's sad because Jimmy's not been on Telegram much because the stick man just ain't drawing his stick figures right now. What's going on? Come on, guys. Chip, we got to be in good moods. Woo!
Maybe John's run out of sticks.
Patriot, Little Leona and Little Elan. I haven't seen pictures of you for a while, but I can imagine you're growing the same way that Patriot Anya, a very cute little 11-year-old girl, and Patriot Xenia, her brother. They just want the war over. That's all they want. They don't care about the toys. They don't care about, well, Anya wants all the ice cream she can eat. But yes, and now they are talking about going to the beach. Hi, Soretta. Hi, Kevin. I said hi to you, Karen, but Karen, I haven't talked to you for a while. How are you doing? Patriot super gymnast. She now goes into real junior high, 7th grade next year. Wow. It seemed like it was yesterday. I went over to visit my daughter in February. And I said, I got to go home, Amber. She said, yeah, Dad. I said, they're calling for a bad storm. She said, I know. I said, I'm going to beat the storm. And I went, and it was just sprinkling. Before I got out of that small town of Clifton, it was snowing and blowing so hard I couldn't see 5 feet, 10 feet in front of me. If I'd have been smart, I'd have turned around and went and spent the night at my daughter's house, but I wasn't smart, and I kept going. And I made it, and I made it, and I made it, and I got to a certain road. And I could have went straight 4 miles and then come right up the Buckingham Blacktop, but I said, no. I'm going to turn on a Herscher Blacktop because it's got the lanes marked so I can know where I'm at. Couldn't see, but I know where I was at. I got stuck. I was there for almost 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 2:30 in the morning, sub-zero. The temperatures went from 46 degrees when it started snowing in the wind chill down to almost 40 below zero. I had a full tank of gas. They called off all rescues. I'm telling this story because I went over to my daughter's to see how she was doing, because this was in late February and Ella was born March 10th. I almost never got to see her because, truthfully speaking, I could have easily froze to death out there. I could have died in the middle of the night, but I didn't. But she's now in junior high, and wherever the years went. Patriot 7, he just left his school where his mommy teaches. They only have 4 grades there, first through kindergarten through 4th, so 5 grades. And he left today, but taken with him. I talked to my daughter tonight, and I think she never admitted, but I think she kind of had tears in her eyes with this 4th grade class leaving, because this was her first class of kindergarten kids. And I'm looking at Facebook, and I'm seeing all the pictures of my daughter with all these 4th grade kids that she's taught, and now they're leaving her. As she said, when Patriot Super Gymnast left 2 years ago to go to the different school, it wasn't as bad, but today she lost her son. Today, the last day of school, she lost Patriot little gymnast because she won't be her teacher next year. Robert, it's a lot for someone to go through when you love your family, when you love the kids the way my daughter does. But it's all what it's supposed to be. It's all right there. My daughter gave me a call today, and video call, and I answered it, and she was going, it's getting a little sassy there, little one. I didn't see anything. All I seen was a picture of my daughter. I said, Addison, what are you doing? And she started to laugh. She said, how did you know it was me and not Ella? I said, because your mommy don't talk to Ella like that. She yells at Ella. So we had a nice little chat. Patriot Kira tonight's going out. A cousin of my daughter-in-law's, my son's wife, has come up from Missouri. Their grandmother fell and really hurt herself. She's in her 80s, and they come up just to see her. So she's out going swimming at my house tonight. And little Kira was going to go outside, and I said, where are you going? She said, swimming. I said, you got to get your bathing suit on. She said, I got it on. I said, we stood there for almost 5 minutes arguing. Finally, she went and got her mommy, and she said, Grandpa Hank won't let me go outside swimming. Why? Because he says I got to get my bathing suit on. By that time, I had already went and got in my bed and laid down, so she didn't even know I was there. And then small Hank, quite a kid. I told you a story about him the other night where he was having trouble doing that turnaround back kick to break the board to get his new belt. He was having trouble doing that. And I come up with the idea, hey, we got them boards that if you just touch them like that, they break. So let's get 3 or 4 of these boards out. He'll break them, and he'll know he can do it. He'll know it won't hurt because he hurt his foot once doing it. And he wouldn't do it anymore. He wouldn't kick it the way he needed to break it. And he practiced, and he broke 4 in a row. And it just so happened the fifth board was an actual real board. And he looked at my son and he says, them are the bad boards. Them are the easy ones to break. That's what you're doing. And my son says, no, look at this one here. It's just like these. And he said, yes. So we got him, and he broke his board the other night. Now he's waiting for his new belt. And it's good to see kids succeed. It's good to see kids do what they need to do. And we have a great group of kids. And, it's nights like tonight, guys, that I really believe we're getting so close that I miss, Patriot Smiley. I miss the little girl from Canada. There's so many of them that we had that left us because, Lynn 8 or Lynn 4Q5P. Kevin, there's so many that left us because their parents just didn't love us no more. But here we are. We're strong. So that concludes tonight's version of the kids. Remember, kids, this video is not made for you. You can watch it under the supervision of your parents, legal guardians, or grandparents. The music we played tonight, we have no legal rights to. Any information that I give, I believe it to be true when I say it. If I read something from somebody, we're using it for information purposes only. It could be right. It could not be right. We'll have to wait and see. If I say anything about money, buying currency that's good, it's my opinion. I am not a financial advisor, so please don't take it at that. But for the people who's believed in me and actually have went out and purchased some, I think you're going to be very happy. So as I said, that concludes tonight's version, but I wanted to talk a little more about kids because today Ron needed some stuff from Walmart, so I rolled in and get it. And I'm going in and I see this guy pushing a cart, 2 kids in it, and a woman. And I looked and I took a double look. And I looked at the guy and I took a double look and he goes, "Can we help you?" I said, "No." "Why are you staring at us?" I said, "Because when I looked over here, the man, you look like my son-in-law. When I looked over here, the woman, you look like my daughter. And the little girl you got here is almost could pass for twins." Could almost pass for twins for my 6-year-old granddaughter. And they go, "Oh, she's 6 years old." She just turned. Now listen to this, guy. She just turned 6. I said, "So did my granddaughter." Yeah, she turned 6 in early May. I said, "What day?" "May 5th. I said, "You're joking." And I said, she said, "Why?" And I said, "That's the same birthday as my granddaughter. Both of them have the same birthday. I'm serious. They could pass for twins." And they said, "Well, no." I said, "Well, what school does she go to?" Because a lot of them will say Shaban's because where that Walmart is, that's the easiest store to get to from Shaban's. And they said, "Oh, we're originally from Indiana. We just moved up here and we homeschooled." And I said, "Well, you know what? That's a good idea." She said, "Oh, you believe in homeschool?" I said, "Well, I believe everybody's going to be homeschooled probably maybe starting next year." And they looked at me like I was weird. And I started talking to them. I started explaining to them. They said, "Whoa, we'd heard something like that." I said, "Well, they're not teaching what they're supposed to be teaching. And, Robert, we're going to have to get that straightened out." We went from there to talking about other things. And somehow we ended up talking about special beds. The man says, "Really? Are you serious?" He says, "Because I got a real bad back." And I said, "Wow, that's amazing. Because remember, I told you look like my son-in-law. He's got a real bad back." I said, "This is weird." And they said, "Yeah, it's kind of strange." So I opened up my phone and I went to the special bed section. And I let them watch a couple videos and talk. And they said, "And we can come in and research this anytime we want." I said, "Sure." So how do you know so much about this? And I told them about our group. It was David and Sharon was the man and woman's name. They said they was going to come on tonight. I get that a lot. People tell me they're going to come on, and that's fine. If they don't come on, Soretta, that's their loss. We got a guy here tonight that's 6 hours ahead of us. We're all thinking here, hey, we're hungry. Let's get this show on the road. We're this, we're that. This is a man that right now, it's well after midnight. What about 121, Robert? Am I right? We have to do what we have to do. Now, I touched on some things a little bit ago. And guys, excuse me, the information just isn't here. That's why I believe we're really, really close. That's why I believe we're right on the verge of getting what we want. Now, yesterday, I went into Telegram. I got on our Telegram site. And on our Telegram site, it made the statement that this wasn't going to take place until fall. There was a lot of people really disappointed, really upset, really, really getting down. And I wanted so much to say, guys, it's just someone saying that. Well, supposedly Mark Z said it. That's what I got out of it. And I said something to Ron, and Ron said that he didn't hear nothing like that. Go by your judgment. Can we really have a tremendous celebration, John and Janet and Soretta and David and Bill? And can we really have a great celebration on July 4th if it's not going to happen till the fall? My personal opinion, if that happens,
Oh, sure, they can't have it up for the whole world.
my personal opinion, if that happens, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to really be able to do anything. But there is some positive. Why 45-47 is peeing around with Iran? I have no idea. When he wanted to take over Venezuela, it was done. He went into Iran and it was done. And now all of a sudden they've come back. And now they're a threat to us, which, okay. It's almost like they're trying to take this movie, and turn it into a comedy show. And they don't need to do that, guys. We've laughed enough. We've ate enough popcorn. And my stomach is hurt now for like the last 3 weeks because I've ate so much popcorn. What about you, Gary? I mean, 45 and 47 is going to make a major announcement of what he's about to do. He's supposed to come out and make an announcement today. What he's going to do. Why does he have to make an announcement? Why does he have to come and tell the world what he's going to do? Go get it done. We didn't elect you to be the president of the United States of America for you to come tell us so you can get in front of a camera, so you can do your hair and do your little dance. Go get it done. Now I'm gonna close this segment with something that's very important because you guys know the way I feel about the Ukraine and a certain people in there. They're going to go to the beach this week. Does that sound like a country that's still really in war? My personal opinion, the wars are over everywhere in the world. It's just that we do not want to end this movie yet because we have too many people that we have to wake up. To heck with waking them up. Forget waking them up. Let them sleep. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. The green things will wake them up. But he just keeps going on. Yep. He's going out hurt. And it is what it is, and we have to keep moving forward. But all I'm saying is they're going to the beach this week. They haven't been able to go to the beach for almost 5 years. When I first started writing Julia 7 years ago, in the summertime, she always talked about going to the beach in the summer. In the last month, she's went to the beach and she's went to the orphanages, something she hasn't done for 4 years. The two kids, Xenia and Anya, are playing out in the yard. I'm telling you guys, in my honest opinion, the wars are over. It's just we're waiting for 45 and 47 to announce it. I believe this. Now, but what I wanted to end this with is whenever I write her on Thursday night, Friday letter, I always try to write a second letter that she just runs copies of and goes home and reads to her mom and her best friend and the kids. And I found yesterday a video with their president, Zelensky. I found a video with their president, Zelensky, and in the video, he made the statement. He's the first president from another country that has called and got the president of another country, aka 45 and 47, on the phone, but also at the same time got Congress on the phone, on speaker, and he addressed the president of the United States and the Congress of the United States of America. And he told them they need his help to put an end to this war. He has told and promised them that he would have this war ended. It's time it ends. He keeps messing around in Iran, and Iran is important to end. But right now, he needs them to come in and get with the two presidents of them two countries and end the war. Does that sound like a country that wants to keep a war going? No. It has to end, and it has to end now. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Is my opinion. We have to end the wars, Janet and John and David. What do you think about that, Papa G and Jeffrey and Jerry? We need to go to the big N, the big G. We need to do that, and that's the only way we can do it. You know, there's coming up. There's always something got now. Some of these other countries are coming up saying the United States does not have their support. They're coming up and saying this, and they're coming up and saying that. And it all boils down to, guys, and I don't use this man's name and his interpretations much on my show because of the what he's done. But the one thing I'll say is Charlie Ward has told us ever since the first time 15 to 20 years ago when I first watched him, he's told us this is just a movie. It's just a movie. Wow. It's time the movie ends. I think we all agree that it is time the movie ends. I'm really not going to talk about Bruce tonight because I know a lot of you don't care for Bruce. But I will say this about Bruce is his show is doing one heck of a job at trying to sell Sue's products and Bob's products. Bruce actually had the kahunas, the stones, to say on his show last night, actually had the nerve to say on his show last night that he thinks it all could be over with by the weekend. We could get the 800 numbers by the weekend. We could do this. And then turned around and said, but Sue is coming up with a new program that will help you to go to the Redemption Center. What in the hell does anybody need Sue's programs for? Why does Sue be on Bruce's show? Why is Bob? I mean, Bob is a blah, 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 blah. He is so blah. And I'm trying to be nice here, Sharetta and Kevin. He really had no new information at all. I tell you how great Bruce was. This is how great his show was. I didn't even listen to it. I got a play-by-play from Marianne. Ron sent me Bruce's call, 7 minutes and some seconds. Now, the whole show went past an hour and a half and only 7 minutes and some. He spoke twice as long promoting Sue's program and promoting Bob's program than he did doing what he's supposed to be doing. His show was so boring, only 7.5 minutes long. And Ron turned it on to listen to right after he got in bed. He said, I'm going to listen to this. Then I'm going to call Ralph. We're going to talk for a few minutes. I'll let him know everything's good down here. We'll talk. And then I'm going to sleep. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I drove down here to make sure Ron was okay. I just wanted to go for a ride anyway. Beautiful night. So I said, let's go see if he's okay. I come down and he's sound asleep. I said, hey, what are you doing sleeping? He said, well, what? He goes, God, I sat down to listen to Bruce. And he said, I don't think I made 2 minutes. That's how boring he was. Guys, I'm not going to sit here and cut down another guy. But for what he's doing to people that do shows is wrong. I'll give him all the credit in the world. And I've stuck up for him a lot. And I hope he sends me my 800 numbers to make sure I get them so I can get them to everybody else. Cindy, good to see you here. But to have people on for over an hour, when you think an hour and a half show and it starts at 8 o'clock my time, that's 9 o'clock Marianne's time. So it was after 10:30 her time when he finally decided to call it quits. But he couldn't call it quits, see, because he had to go, and for the next 3 or 4 minutes, he had to promote Sue's program again. But anyway, that's a story for another day. That's what it is, what it is. I'm trying to get where I need to get here. So there's some things. There's something here I want to read. I'm going to open it up because it's funny because I was on one of the channels tonight and I saw something. I said, I'm going to read that. That looks good. So I did one of those snapshots things. I did one of those and everything was good. And Ron looks at me right after I snapshot it, and he said, hey, there's something you might want to read tonight. It's got a picture of the bird, the eagle and all that. And I said, okay. And I go, wow. And I started laughing. He said, well, it's not that funny. Why are you laughing? And I said, because I just sent the same thing over to read. I guess great minds think alike. So this is from Florentine Patriot. Patrioto Q. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is on its way. It will arrive soon. This will happen in a few days. Stay alert, Patriot. The best is yet to come. Something great is approaching. Something magical is coming. I like that. You know why? I like it because it gives me hope. Now, I don't know if you guys were like me, but I used to watch a show that was called Roseanne. To be honest with you, I like the other characters. I like Dan, the dad, with John Goodman. I like the kids. Roseanne didn't really float my boat, but she was funny. But then all of a sudden, Roseanne, they took her off. They was going to bring her back, but they wanted her to do things. And we all found out then Roseanne was a patriot, and she wouldn't sell her soul. Ian, she wouldn't sell her soul, Kevin and Gary. And that spoke numbers to me. And Roseanne's constantly coming up with little little things, saying certain things. And one of them she said here, not big. I told you guys we are close, she says. Roseanne Nation. Light, it's coming. It's coming this week and next week. Everything you were afraid of, everything you knew, everything you prayed about, your prayers are answered. Roseanne's one of the good ones. Oh, Ron had here something good to read on the show. It's what I just read. Wolverine's had a couple of shows here recently, guys, and he's very excited. The Top Bond people are, he actually has proof. He says it's been verified. He's talked to the people that the bond, there's certain bond people, the ones that were supposed to go first, are being paid. They actually have money. And that's what we've always wanted to hear. Now, I know Janet and Bill and John, Kevin, I know you guys are going to say, no, I want to hear when 4B goes. See, 4B can't go until the first one goes. It's just like you can't get to 2 unless you get to 1. You see what I mean? You can't do it. So that being said, it looks like it's finally here. You know, oh man, something's in my eye right now, guys. But Wolverine's been saying that, you know, he's thinking that maybe he might do another one tonight. He might do another one tonight, later on, which is his tomorrow, because he's truthfully believing he's going to put on his mega hat. He also talked about someone called MJ, and I don't mean the basketball player. I mean the young man who had brothers, and they was called the Jackson 5. Talked about him that supposedly under his name on Telegram, he has a channel, and Wolverine joined it, and he's actually talked to him, and MJ wants to meet with him and says he's doing a great job. And, you know, I love Wolverine, but, you know, he just loves to pat himself on the back. He'll never have to worry about anything like that because he's great at doing it. But, you know, it doesn't matter. Another thing I love about him is he hates it when people talk about him. He just hates it when he's trying. He's never did anything so hard in his life. What is hard? David, we're tired, right? Kevin, John, Beth, Nita, we're all tired. But we choose to do this. We choose to come to shows. We choose to follow other people. We choose to get information. This isn't something that if you go out and you don't do it, you're going to get fired. You're going to always be a patriot. No one tells Wolverine or anybody they have to go do this. They do it because they want, so you don't need the recognition. And that's what I like about our group. None of us care about recognition. Someone said, what group are you from? I said, Patriot 5, Patriot 6. They said, what's that, Golden Arrow? I said, well, I guess you never listened to it, so not really much sense for me to explain it to you. Now, here's something that I find funny. Because one thing, guys, I have never liked is for a person to come on to do a show and say, hey, we got to wait for a few more people to get here. Now, if they're the speakers, Bill Woods and Kevin and Justin, Golden Arrow, if they're the speakers on the show, yeah, you got to wait for them. But to say, no, we got to wait for a few more people to come on. And someone makes a statement, well, there's 1,000 here, Wolvie. And he says, well, we'll wait till we get 1,200. See, what's funny is because Wolverine's site on Telegram, he doesn't even have 1,200 followers. He does his shows on the other site because they have 23,000 followers. So it's funny to me that he has to have 1,200 people to start a show. Is it fair to you, Papa G? Is it fair to you, Kevin? Go there. You know what I'm going to ask? Janet, is it fair to you? 95% of the time, you're the first one on here. Is it fair to you that if I say I'm not starting the show until we get at least 50 people here? I'm happy as heck. I looked over and we had 95. And as I'm starting to say this, we go to 94. So maybe someone left. But no, it's not fair to the people who I'm starting the show at this time to have to sit there and listen to people mumble and bumble and spit all over themselves. It's not fair. But you know what? Keep your vibrations up. So I'm not going to do anything reading about Bruce. And as I said, guys, I don't have a lot. The only thing I have is the Dinar Chronicles. I'm going to read that, and then the show's going to be over. It's not that I don't want to be here. It's just that they're not giving us anything. They're protecting everything. That's why I believe we are really super close. I believe we're right on the verge of getting this. Now, Ship 64, Kevin, Nita, you might say, well, you say that every week. And I'm going to tell you right now, come back next Friday night. If we haven't gone yet, I'll say it again. Why? Because I believe. I woke up this morning feeling fine because there's something special on my mind. And we're just going to get this doing. We're going to get it doing. As Ron says, we're daydream believers. Nothing's going to stop us now. Restored Republic via a GCR update as of May 29, 2026. Summary, Judy Bidington's Restored Republic via GCR report for May 29, 2026, compiled in the late hours of May 28th, presents a narrative filled with personal reflections and ambitious projections for the near future. Bidington opens her update with a personal note apologizing for its late release and detailing an unusual computer breakdown on Thursday. She attributes the swift resolution of these technical difficulties to prayer and heavenly intervention, expressing gratitude for her mission and acknowledging her husband, Fred Weindorf, for his unwavering support. This personal framing set a tone of conviction, with Bidington noting strange things are happening. We must be getting close, hitting a significant changes she believes are on the horizon. The report then delves into proposed timeline of events outlining specific dates in May and June 2026 that Bidington suggests will herald a new era. According to her update, Friday, May 29, 2026, it's depicts DEPICITED as a pivotal movement where the existing financial system is anticipated to undergo a collapse, leading to a shattering of the chains of the financial elite and the dawn of a golden age. This date also presented as the activation point for Big N, Big G, a framework Bidington and her followers believe will restore global wealth to the people and ensure free access within a restored republic. Continuing this narrative, Monday, June 1, 2026 is described as the activation date for the global currency reset, GCR, and the full implementation of Big N, Big G laws. This, the report suggests, would bring about widespread debt forgiveness, liberating individuals from financial burdens, and introduced gold-backed currencies to foster prosperity. On this day, individuals are purportedly expecting to receive electronic messages on their mobile devices or via guiding them to an official redemption centers. These centers are outlined as venues for setting up personal wallets described as a new types of banks accounts. receiving secure codes confirming debt wipeout and gaining access to individual sovereign fund dashboards. The proposed timeline culminates on Friday, June 5, 2026, with Big G wealth drops and the ZIM redemptions projected to fund humanitarian projects intending to dismantle what the report refers to the C blank 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 poverty schemes. In the context of the global currency reset, Byington reports indicate that specific details about Tier 4B, the Internet Group, notifications for redemptions and exchange appointments remain closely guided, with decisions attributed to a select few, including President 4547. The report further suggests that Wells Fargo, purportedly controlled by the Chinese elders who are believed to back the global currency reset with gold, will be responsible for sending out emails to the currency and bondholders worldwide. Byington advises individuals to conduct foreign currency exchanges and ZIM redemptions at designated redemption centers, not banks, rather than traditional banks, citing potentially better rates and the exclusive availability of certain services at these centers. She also mentions a belief that most banks may soon play a different role in the global financial system. The report also highlights insights from Guru Information and Intel, notably a huge update allegedly shared by Wano Savan on Thursday, May 28, 2026. This segment describes the quantum financial system, QFS, and the GESARA as unstoppable forces currently reshaping the world. The narrative assets that are C blank, 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 financially elite that have historically concentrated wealth on the brink of being dismantled pave the way for the greatest wealth transfer of human history. The QFS and GESARA are portrayed in a report as revolutionary mechanisms designed to empower individuals financially, replacing what is described as a C blank, 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 blank banking empire with a system that is transparent, incorruptible, and unstoppable. The report elaborates on a vision of massive wealth redistribution, providing hypothetically examples of family receiving substantial sums translating in generation wealth. GESARA is presented not merely as a concept, as a legally binding mandate poised to transfer the global financial landscapes, ensuring that 8 billion people are about to get their share of global wealth. The QFS is further described as a weapon of mass liberation intended to expose hidden debt and rigged markets, thereby returning the power to the people. Now, before I go, I got a couple little things I want to talk about. One of them is Obi and his dealings with Sleepy. The two of them literally had sent not a little, but literally billions of dollars in gold to Iran. It's no secret that Obi hated our country, hated us people. He probably hates his husband. But, you got to have somebody when you're in that beautiful house. What they're doing to that beautiful house, getting rid of all the bad, the evil, it's terrible that they would do something like that. Myself, personally, I wish they would have tore it all down and just started brand new. Bought bulldozers in and made sure that everything underneath was destroyed. Every room was destroyed and build a brand new one. There is some things that I was talking to Marianne last night. She just went to Florida. Her son lives there. Her son is a mathematic genius. I mean, there's nothing he can't do with numbers. And she went there to visit him. They hadn't seen him. A 15-hour drive one way, but her and her husband made it. 8 hours one day, 7 hours the next, going and coming. They just enjoyed it. But she told me she got to go right by Mar-a-Lago, and she said, "Oh, Ralph, it's something." She's seen the vice president's plane come and land there. Her son has seen Air Force One land there. See, it's just something when you're in the right place at the right time. You get to see things. And I go back to 9/11 when I say you get to see things because, guys, 9/11 made me sicker than I think I've ever been in my life. I couldn't eat. All I could think about is someone invaded our country. And at the point, I did not know it was caused by the Beans, the people who, the Bush Beans type company. I didn't know it was taken care of by that. I actually thought someone had finally come into our country and did something. And it made me sick. Didn't want to look at what was on TV. I'd seen enough of it. Didn't want to worry about anything else. And I went outside, and I got a big deck around my house on my, outside net. And I said deck. Ron's over there laughing. And I'm laying in my chair, and I'm looking up at the sky. There's beautiful stars and nothing else. Do you know how lonely it can get, Kevin and John and Ian, when you're laying out there, Janet, and you're looking up at the sky and there's nothing? Because I live 60 miles straight south of Chicago. I'm used to seeing jet planes go across my house all the time. Some going, some coming, some going this direction, some going that direction, all the time. And there was nothing. And then out of the blue, there was one plane followed by another plane. It was Air Force One taking our president to safety. I seen that. So when Marianne told me that she got to see the vice president's plane come in, when she told me her son has seen the president's plane come in, and he says it's totally different. When you're driving by, she didn't think you could get that close to Mar-a-Lago, but you actually can unless he's there. And if he's there, they said, if you even stop to sneeze, the police is there and they're moving you along. It is protected. But wow, they can protect him that way. But we can't get all this stuff done. And I'm not mad. I mean, he deserves to be protected. He's the president of the United States of America, for goodness gracious. Just speaking about our vice president, I'm sure you guys have seen it, but they're saying the real one actually left a few years ago, and this one is being played with mask by Paul Walker and Junior. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to go sometime tonight or tomorrow to Telegram, and I'm going to Google on Telegram Michael Jackson. I want to see if I can talk to him. Good times are coming, guys. We're about ready to see all the people that we thought were gone that are still here. We're about ready to see all the people that we thought were here that are gone. I never did believe in that penalty that ended someone's life, but boy, I tell you what some of these people have done to so many people in this world. They don't deserve it. But as we get ready to start our weekend, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. I have to go to a memorial service tomorrow for a woman that was my ex-sister-in-law. She passed away. She could have really used the beds, but I think about these beds and how many people could be here. I was reading an article the other day that there's a certain person that's a certain relative to a certain president. And I'm thinking, why would they be making a deal about her having cancer? Why wouldn't this man get her on the bed? Why wouldn't he get her held? Why do we always have to play games? For God's sakes, man, this is your daughter. You have access to him. Get her ass on that bed and get her healed. And then get all the rest of us there. I lost my little dog because he snoozed. for that, there'll always be a part of my heart that will be empty, because I used to pray to God every night that my little dog would make it to the beds, and she should have. And she was a fighter. But 2 weeks ago, I'm so confused right now, I don't even know. Wow. Poker John said in 1974, he was 16 years old, crawdad fishing, and the kid next to him looks up and says, wow, Air Force One. It was Nixon's flying into the local Air Force base to do a commencement speech at Oklahoma State University. Wow, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for letting me share it with everybody. And with that, guys, we hit 100 people. Good night. Have a great weekend. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back and do a special call because we'll get the 800 numbers. We can always pray. Never give up hope. Never give in. Do not surrender. Do not comply. We didn't for the COVID, and we're not going to now, guys. Have a great weekend. Good night. God bless. We love you all.